racing dudes named Aaron and Jared, who had advice on racing and they wanted to share it. Started a website where players go to see all their picks. The goal was make the fans some money and to cut down the risk. They put the plan into motion and at first it seemed silly. Make a website where the expert picks are freer than Willie. From a racetrack veteran to just a beginner, there's one place that you want to go to find you a winner. As a matter of fact, I want to hit the exacta. There's only one site that you'll keep coming back to. So next time that the horses all line up at the post, make sure you use the website that'll win you the most. Whether Churchill, Oakland, Ballston Park, Saratoga, and all tracks in between, there's only one site to go to when it comes to your racing needs and all of your bets. Plus it's got a catchy name that no one ever forgets. RacingDudes.com for all of your needs. RacingDudes.com for all of your leads. RacingDudes.com for all of your bets. RacingDudes.com, as good as it gets. RacingDudes.com for all of your needs. RacingDudes.com for all of your leads. RacingDudes.com for all of your bets. RacingDudes.com, as good as it gets.
What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. This is Blinkers Off. What's up, my man?
What's up, man?
Welcome to another live show here on
we're
Blinkers
early.
Off.
We're early.
We're so early that kind of freaked Magic out, I think. So
yeah, Magic's a little upset, I think, but we're gonna get done with ours, and then the Magic Mike Show can have the stage coming up in a couple hours.
Yeah,
right?
Usually we're the night crew, I think, and we kind of wrap up the day, when we have time, basically. And today it just kind of worked out that we're here early. So welcome everybody to Blinkers Off that maybe is expecting Magic Mike. You can wait till later, but big show for a weekend that we don't have like another 3-year-old type prep action going on. It's a pretty big show because you've got Sistercharlie, you've got the Vanderbilt, you've got some good racing, you got Maximum Security at Del Mar. You've got some pretty good racing going on when you don't have, I mean, to me personally, I'm sick of the 3-year-olds. I love talking about these older horses.
Well, we could have the Classic winner running this weekend, the Sprint winner running this weekend, and also the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf winner running this weekend. So even though the racing is kind of light as far as competition for those horses that I just talked about and that we will talk about on the show, it's still some major horses running. So yeah, it's going to be fun. It's a good show. Listen, Saratoga, Del Mar, we didn't get both of them last week because Del Mar unfortunately had to cancel all their races, but they're back. And we're back, man. This is what summer's all about.
So speaking of the 3-year-olds, so we're not going to talk, thank goodness, not going to talk about the 3-year-olds on this show much, but we did have some 3-year-old action last week with the Haskell. And your boy, Authentic, I mean, he ran well. He had to hold off a last second, I should say, run from New York Traffic. Obviously, Dr. Post was not his best, or maybe he wasn't his best, or he's just not very good. But he just, he was no match for Authentic. So I guess the first question, so one, he's in the he's in the Classic. We know that being a Haskell winner in. He's obviously in the Kentucky Derby. That'll be his next start. What do you make of Authentic? I mean, because a lot of people I've seen some mixed bag of like, well, he can go longer. Like once he got a horse next to him, you could tell he got back on the bit a little bit. And to me, it's like he needed the wire. Good luck. I wouldn't bet your money him going a mile and a quarter.
It's amazing to me what different people see during a race. I saw it as, oh my gosh, he couldn't have went one more step. There was no re-engaging. He really kind of got lucky with a head bob because right before the wire, New York Traffic looked like he got ahead for maybe a split second. No, I mean, this horse going any longer is going to be big trouble. He's not going to be able to get the job done. I think he's one of those kinds of 3-year-olds that kind of get themselves in that no man's land type distance where he really can't get a mile and a quarter, but he's so talented that they're going to try it. And it's going to probably be a disaster. A mile or less, or even a mile and 16th, I think this horse is super good. I mean, when he turned for home in the Haskell, it looked like a typical Bob Baffert Haskell romp was going to happen, right? I mean, he was
I know. It looked like, okay, this is over.
8-length win is what I was thinking. And then all of a sudden he stopped.
Frank was even making the call kind of like,
oh, yeah,
this is going to be a laugher, you know, and then he kind of quickly had to read like, okay, wait, hey, on. He's kind of stopping a little bit.
Frank was a half second away from giving Authentic the big Frank Miramati blowout call that I love so much. And then, he realized, uh-oh. Another thing with Authentic, and a thing, I've watched this race a lot, I don't think Authentic really has it figured out. I really don't think Authentic knows what he's doing out there. I really don't. I don't see a horse, like some people said, oh, he saw that horse and got re-engaged. I don't think Authentic really knows he's supposed to win or lose. I just think he's very fast, and he's faster than everybody else. And if they pass him, he doesn't really care or know that's bad. He's just really talented and really fast. And he's goofy. He's a goofy horse. They're saying he was jumping shadows on the backside. Remember in his debut, 3-year-old in the Sham, he was all over the place. I don't really think Authentic is really knows exactly what it's all about out there. I just think he's super talented.
A horse, this maybe is not a great comparison because I don't know, like he reminds me a little bit of an Audible going into the Kentucky Derby, where it's like I don't think he's good enough, but yet he's been winning races to get to that point. Like I just don't think Audible was. I mean, Audible ran well in the Kentucky Derby.
I think Audible would have won a Haskell by 4 or 5. I really do.
I don't know.
He reminds me of like a secret circle, only he wouldn't be as good of a sprinter.
Like as in, he's really good, but just can't get, the distance-wise, this is not going to happen.
Yeah. Audible, I just never, like you said, I never really thought he was good enough, but I didn't really think that a distance would be the problem.
Yeah.
I just didn't, not talent-wise.
I think
this horse has more talent.
I think that's more of the comparison I'm looking for is like going into the Kentucky Derby, you're like, yeah, good horse.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him getting close to winning this race kind of thing. And that's kind of how I feel about Audible.
That I agree with, yeah.
Especially it's funny when you look at Audible, all of a sudden Baffert does still have a nice, he has 3 horses right now going into the Kentucky Derby.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because you have Audible, who's obviously the most established of those 3, but yet you might have the least belief that he can actually win the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
I mean, Saison is still like unknown a little bit. Definitely Uncle Chuck's unknown as far as what he's going to be like. But Authentic, you kind of feel like, okay, we know what he is.
Yeah.
Mile and a quarter just seems like it's not going to be him.
The Haskell didn't really tell us anything we didn't already know. He's pretty good. He's pretty fast. He's hard to catch when he's on the lead. He can't go any further than a mile and 16th. I mean, that's we knew that going in, right? So that's really, that we didn't learn much. I guess the big takeaway from the Haskell for me, as far as going forward towards the Kentucky Derby, is listen. A lot of people are making excuses for Dr. Post. He had a rough trip.
Oh gosh,
come on. I mean, he just didn't show up at all. And I really think he's not one I want going forward in a race like the Kentucky Derby. I think he's pretty good, but listen, he was empty. He just didn't have it.
There's no excuse. I mean,
none.
And even if there was a somewhat of a legitimate excuse, you need to see a better performance than that to if you have some traffic issues or whatever and finish second or even third, because traffic ran huge but it's a good third and whatever a good third would look like there, you'd be like, he just did not pass the eye test whatsoever in that race. Dr. Post. Wow. So I don't know. It's interesting. I feel like we left that race, like you said, kind of with the same. We picked Authentic because we thought he's the classiest horse of the bunch. He won barely. It probably did more for NY Traffic, honestly, because he at least established himself as a horse that, he's going to be a wise guy horse too. You know that, because people are going to say, well, look how he was coming. Look how that's so typical.
Is so average at best, because a good horse would have won that race. That's what it's all about. If Dr. Post was any good, he would have won, period. If NY Traffic was any good, he would have won. Listen, that Authentic stopped. He absolutely stopped. He was waiting on somebody to catch him, right? And nobody could in that race. So, yeah, NY Traffic, I saw people go, oh, he's top 5 now for the Derby. It was really – now, listen, I like him, right? I like him. He's a good horse. But that race was more just about, everybody, the horse was stopping in front. He runs the same speed all the way around the track. That's how he hits the board in all these big races. And the horse in front of him stopped so much, and nobody else was coming behind at all, that he almost won the race.
I know.
If anybody is charging hard, they pass him. If the horse, like Authentic, doesn't stop, it's a 6-length win. I mean, that's really it, right? I mean, if Tiz the Law was in that race, he may have won by 12.
Dude.
Seriously.
Under wraps, too.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously, you know, Decorated Invader did his thing, global campaign did his thing. Paris Lights won for the CCA Oaks, which is the Kentucky Oaks. But definitely the highlight of the weekend was the authentic performance in the Haskell. Lots to talk about. I don't want to talk anymore about last weekend. So,
Okay, good.
But we do have some, well, I'll use this on best thing. So, best thing you saw today.
Well, future best thing I saw today is what it's going to be, because this is Pink Lloyd Day, right? He's running today at
Magic will appreciate.
Yeah, Magical like that. He's running today at Woodbine. Pink Lloyd, you know, he's 1-9 on the morning line, and he'll be 1-9 on the regular line when they go off. And he should win for fun. But anytime Pink Lloyd runs, that's a good day for me. So 7th race at Woodbine. Let me see if Woodbine has started their card yet. No, they're 12 minutes away from race 1, so it'll be a few hours. But Pink Lloyd today, and also throw it to Magic. His horse that he's got a piece of, Kiana's Love, is going to run at Arlington here in about an hour. So a lot to look forward to today.
Okay, so I got it's sort of a feature best thing, but it's talk about this weekend. Enable running, coming back to run here in a 4-horse field. Not often do you see a 4-horse field overseas. Usually these turf races will have plenty. It's at Ascot on Saturday morning. It's the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Quipco Stakes, Group 1. Mile and a half, and it is a Breeders' Cup Challenge race for the turf. So it's a big race, obviously, every year, and having Enable in the race. But, you know, Enable is 1-2, but you got 3-1 on Japan. Aiden O'Brien's got 3 horses, and then you got Gostin with Enable. You know, you got Anthony Van Dyke, Japan, and Sovereign, and then Enable draws the outside there with the Toria ride. So it's 4 horses, but pretty salty group of turf horses overseas, which obviously you would hope make some, at least maybe a chance to see some of these horses later in the year.
Wish there'd be a few more. There were like 8 or 9 that were possible or probable for the race, and then we got this. So I don't know. I don't love that field as much as what I thought I would. But yeah, it's always fun when Enable runs in Japan. Really good horse as well. So kind of a 2-horse race there. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Going a mile and a half, you know. The small fields, when you have these big, you know, long distance races, are always interesting because it's just kind of like no one does much at all for like 90% of the race, and then all of a sudden they go, and then you'll see Japan and Enable kind of start to probably separate, you would think, and let them kind of do almost like a match race, you know, down the long stretch there. So that'll be fun. But stay tuned. That's Saturday morning over at Ascot. So that's the best thing I saw. I can't wait to see Enable come back. All right, let's do this. Today's show, we will preview Saturday's Alfred G. Vanderbilt Handicap, the Grade 1 at Saratoga, and the San Diego Handicap. It's a Grade 2 at Del Mar. Then we get rapid fire selections for some of the other stakes action around the country, including the Ballston Spa Stakes. It's a Grade 2 at Saratoga, featuring the return of Sistercharlie. Let's go! All ready? Just realized while I was doing that I mistyped. I have it. The title of this pod is 449. It's 450.
Okay.
So congratulations on
450. Wow, that's crazy.
There we go. Let's see. 450. Been doing this a while. Too long, actually. We were doing this, podcasts weren't really a thing, actually. Kind of funny.
Yeah, no, everybody has them now. That's what's crazy about it. Yeah.
Let's see. Right. Yeah, so we're going to do the Vanderbilt, which is a really good race. San Diego. What's funny is, like you said on the intro, you've got very possibly the turf winner running this weekend with Enable if she were to come over. Definitely could see a possibility with the sprint winner. You could see the possibility of the classic winner, and you could see the possibility of the Philly Merritt. Yep. So there you go. It's for a weekend that you maybe don't have at least seemingly to the public, like have this big race happening.
Yeah.
You got to sure as hell have a lot of superstars running. So
yep.
Be interesting. You know, last year Sistercharlie made her return in the Diana, which is a little bit longer race than the Ballston Spa, but this is all the option they had. He's been waiting to run her, and we talked about this a few weeks ago whenever Saratoga was getting close with Ricky, kind of where we thought he might choose to run her. Didn't really know where that would be, but
yeah, out of spots really. So gotta go somewhere, right?
Well, yeah,
Exactly. At some time, yeah.
All right, let's do this. So yeah, well, you know the drill. If you got questions, comments while you're listening, just type them in, and we will try to answer those related to the race. So we'll do the Vanderbilt first. Let me pull those up.
This is a really good 5-horse race.
The Vanderbilt?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's why no decision whatsoever on what to make the focus of this podcast,
right,
because this race is insanely good.
Well, the odds are out now too. That's good.
Golly, volatile. It's 4-5.
Yep.
Whitmore 2-1. All right. Right. 3, 2, 1. All right, Saratoga on Saturday, race 10, the Alfred Vanderbilt Handicap Grade 1 with 250K. It's handicap for 3-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs. Small field here, but it's a powerful field of 5 horses. Your morning line favorite, the up-and-coming star of the Asmussen barn, number 4, Valdel. This horse has done nothing wrong as of late and is really just completely destroying the competition. Comes into this race, his first Grade 1 attempt. You got Friends Fire, who came back and really looked good, almost like his old self last time out at 4-1. Whitmore, hard to say anything got wrong with Whitmore these days at 2-1. The old 7-year-old is still going. And Mind Control on the outside of 6-1. You get 21 Tony on the inside. But really it comes down to, obviously Whitmore is, but it's like, to me, when you look at this race, it's like, okay, is Valdel a superstar? Like, that's what this race comes down to, because if he is, he should win this race. I almost say easily. Well, this race reminds me a lot of the Count Fleet Handicap in 2019 when Matoli and Whitmore faced off against each other. And, Whitmore tried and his hardest, but Matoli was just better. So now we get the same thing. We got Asmussen with a different horse this time with Volatile. And listen, I don't think they'll catch him. I really don't. And the thing I've liked from the start about Volatile this year is just the fact that, he could be on the lead and win. He can stalk and win. It really doesn't matter. He's shown that early speed that you have to have in sprints, but he's not going to get burnt out because he's come from off the pace, or at least stalking the pace. In these races, he's totally ready for this challenge. That race last time out at Churchill Downs was not at all up to his class level. I think he's going to romp here. I really do. I just don't see how Whitmore is going to catch a horse like this. No matter how good Whitmore is right now, and he's really good. That last race at Oaklawn was really something spectacular. But, at the same time, the Count Fleet and the Apple Blossom, right? Both races, when they happened, we thought, holy cow, these were strong races. Nobody's really come back to do anything out of either one of those races. You look at who Whitmore beat that day. I know. Flagstaff ran terrible, next time out. So, I'm not saying that's a bad race, but I'm saying Volatile wasn't in that race. A horse like him wasn't in that race. He's got his hands full today. I'm going with the Asmussen runner here. That's how I ended up going with Volatile, because it's like you look at Whitmore and like you say, at the time you thought, well, yeah, Flagstaff, beat Flagstaff and horse, and he's like, well, that really has come back to not be much. He's like the hot spring. Well, he didn't beat much. You look at them, and then you just look at what Volatile's been doing to his competition. Destroying. And I think you made a really good assessment there with how that race reminds you of when Matoli which is funny because it's the same barn, Matoli and Whitmore faced off in the Count Fleet at Oaklawn, where it's like he couldn't match up. And they also had a lot of factors against him, whereas you didn't have a lot of pace in the race and you had no one in the race really.
Yep.
And so you just kind of had, it was kind of a, he had to do what he had to. Whitmore actually ran a hell of a race that day, all things considered. Where this race, you don't have a lot of horses in the race. You don't have a lot of speed, must necessarily, other than Friends Fire, other than, Volatile. So you got to think that it's going to be up to, Santana to say, you know what, we'll go fast. And then this horse is obviously, the horse ran a 112 buyer. If you're a buyer's person, last time out under wraps, just destroyed the competition. Like, that's what's scary to me is he put up that kind of number and it wasn't like he was all out. I mean, this horse was cruising.
He's freakishly good. I remember sitting at home in April watching that allowance win at Oaklawn and immediately thought, well, this is his next big horse, right? This is the horse that's going to be his next star sprinter. And really, his race last time out, he may have been able to beat Matoli even in that race. That was ridiculous. And if he does anything close to that, it's just it more than anything else. I know he lacks experience, but more than anything else, it's just a matter of talent. That is something we haven't seen any of these other horses do ever in this race. And if he can do that, he's just way better than the rest of the field, and he's way better than anything he's going to face if he can run that kind of race over and over. Yeah,
I mean, this is to me, this is the start. I mean, this is a 4-year-old son of violence, and he just got a late start, obviously as a 3-year-old, and he got in July and. Didn't run again until September, ran again in November, and then, of course, came back at Oaklawn in April. So he's just obviously been a horse that they've taken their time with. Big time purchase, $850,000 purchase. So the expectations have been there from the start. Mm-hmm. Three Chimneys Farms, Phoenix Thoroughbreds, obviously very well connected as far as, with Asmussen and getting good horses and that nature. So, all the stars are aligned with this horse. Yeah. He's obviously putting up freaky numbers. You made a note of, I remember right after that April, you raised, you're like, well, there's the next Matoli, mm-hmm. And we always say it on the pod how good Asmussen is with these horses, that when he gets one of these kind of freaky good horses, he's really good at keeping them freaky good.
With older horses. He's really good. And I'm not calling this horse as good as Matoli. I'm saying he's got the opportunity to be. And you don't say that about a lot of horses, right? I mean, you don't watch one and say, that horse has a shot to be what Matoli was because he was a world champion sprinter. This horse has got the opportunity to do that. He's got a lot of proving to do. He's got to stay healthy, this and that, but he's very, very good.
By the way, I mean, for anybody that just maybe, quarantine and COVID's kind of gotten you confused a little bit. When I was going a couple weeks ago doing the Met Mile, and I put the audio clip of the Met Mile, like the starting of the Met Mile, into the pod, mm-hmm. Of course you get sucked into watching the replays and stuff. That Met Mile from Matoli is maybe one of the better performances you'll ever see. And that horse ran monstrous that day.
He was unbelievable that day. Yeah.
You have to go back and watch Matoli.
Yeah.
And then of course that triggered. Okay, well now I gotta go watch the Breeders' Cup Sprint. With
he was unbelievable. That was day
unbelievable too.
Yeah, to beat that horse.
Does that so like to the point of that is like, okay, he's not there. Obviously,
no.
But could he be there? I mean, he's been showing the freaky good things.
Well, he's going up to win a race that Matoli lost last year. That was his only loss. Was in this race last year for Imperial Hint.
Yep.
So
to that point, the Imperial Hint of this race, I think, is not Whitmore, it's Friends Fire. Because I think this horse showed, I mean, he's always been a really good horse. Then, of course, you have the question of, well, after the trainer, what is he going to be? Well, last time out in the True North, he actually showed a nice turn of foot and maybe is on his way to becoming kind of what he was still. At this distance, he's a very good horse with 5 wins and 9 starts. He's got to win. He's got to win at Saratoga. Like if for whatever reason Balto does not run well, I could see Friends Fire being the horse to win, just because I still think his ability when it's there, because that's the other speed horse. Like I could see this horse showing some speed too.
Yeah, that True North was not that strong of a race. That's the only thing. That's the only kind of a downfall for me when I'm looking at him. He's facing some different caliber horses here, and I really think Whitmore probably would have been the favorite in that race if he was in it. So, but I agree. He does kind of feel like the Imperial Hint, quote unquote, of this year's event. Because you remember Imperial Hint was coming off a long layoff and he went off at pretty good odds. And I don't think a lot of people really had a lot of confidence in him. And he ran the race of his career. That was unbelievable. So, I mean, Frenzy Fire, he could be setting up for it, right? Like you said, third race off the barn change. And it's a significant one from the fact of knowing what he probably was on versus what he's running with now. It's a big difference. So, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. He's got a shot, no doubt. I think it's one of those three for sure. And really, I think Volatile is going to win. And I just think the situation is if he loses, it'll be because him and Frenzy Fire go crazy out front. In which case, I think Whitmore will be the upset.
That's true. Yeah. What makes it sad is weren't we there when that race happened?
Yeah, no, you were there. I had to go to a funeral that day. But,
well, that was a funeral when you saw Imperial Hint win because you're like, son of a bitch. Because I was staying on the track. I believe with our boy Coleman that day, and when Imperial Hint just freaking ran the race of his life almost. I mean, he ran huge. Yeah. But it's depressing the fact that a year ago, essentially, I was sitting on the track at Saratoga watching a Grade 1 race, and now I'm going to be sitting on my couch watching it. So that sucks. But all right, so you and I are both on number 4, Volatile. And keep an eye on this horse moving forward, because if he does what we think he's going to do here, he's definitely a huge factor leading up to the Breeders' Cup. Alrighty.
So we're going to Del Mar now for the
little Maximum Security. What's up, Jeannie?
Oh, hey, Jeannie. What's up?
Yeah, we're gonna go see some. Bob Baffert makes his Maximum Security debut, so this should be interesting.
Yeah. So even money morning line on Maximum Security. It's like higher power 7-2, mid court 4-1. So
all right,
you've got some value if you want to try and take a shot against Maximum Security. This to me is the most fascinating race on Saturday, no doubt.
It's definitely the one that's going to have the most anticipation, because in the way we've been ranking all year, and not just us, I say we as an industry, as the NTRA, and even with now Aaron and I are doing rankings for the Breeders' Cup, for the Classic rankings, and you're getting a really mixed bag of viewpoints on Maximum Security. Yeah. It's whether you have those of us that are pretty firm on, okay, you know what? Yeah, he's got, the drug issues and whatnot with his past trainer, but let's not completely discredit the horse. Yeah. We saw, we mentioned with Frenzy Fire, let's give him a second. If he comes back, and to me, he's at the most, if he goes from, and just doesn't win, if he doesn't win this race, he goes from being ranked number 2 to gone off of it. Because you're like, well, there you go. So he's got the most to lose here by far. But at the same time, you're talking about a horse that has done little to nothing wrong his entire career.
He ain't losing this race.
So
spoiler alert for when we start recording. I don't think he's losing.
I don't think he is either. But but yeah, he does have the high weight in the race, obviously. Yeah. And with Saez being on quarantine now, he picks up Sedelio. So that's but what's interesting, that's another name to remember, because as no surprise to Magic and you especially, but it's like Bob Baffert seeked him out, said, if I can't get Saez, this is who I want. Yep. So
good young jockey.
So a jockey that you need to know, as well as could be making his name for himself moving forward for sure. All right, let's do it. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's move over to Del Mar, across the country. Race 10 on Saturday at San Diego Handicap, Grade 2 with 150K for 3-year-olds and up, going 1/1/16 miles. Field of 6 lines up for this one, although we do hear that there's going to be some Scratch Sharp Samurai, Combatant possibly as well, moving to the next day, the Eddie Reed on the next day. So it might be down to a 4-horse field by the time this is all said and done, but really makes no difference, because all eyes will be on the 5-horse. Maximum Security makes his first start since winning The Saudi Cup, did he win it? I mean, did he actually ever get the money? Have they ever gotten the money?
I don't know.
He quote unquote finished first. New trainer now, a guy named Bob Baffert trains him now with service in county jail. I don't know where he's at, but he is no longer being trained by Jason Service. Now he's with Bob Baffert, even money favorite in the race. And, obviously for a grade 2, $150,000 race going to mile 16th, it's a very important race because you have no Breeders' Cup implications, so to speak. But like we talked about just a second ago off air on our live feed, it's like this is a horse who has so much to lose here because the question becomes, how legit is this horse? Because obviously the drug issues with this past trainer, this horse has lost twice in his career. Once was
not a loss.
Yeah. So he's done almost nothing wrong. He's very well could be your top contender to win the Breeders' Cup Classic, or he could be written off after Saturday.
Yeah, he's 2 wins away from being the favorite in the Breeders' Cup Classic, no matter what anybody else does, right? I mean, if he wins this one and then say goes and wins the Pacific Classic, he's a horse that has failed to cross the line once as a winner.
Yeah, because just imagine a scenario where he does look like he has always looked, but now you have Bob Baffert training him.
Yep.
Because if there's ever a knock, it was his trainer.
And Baffert's going to take money no matter who he brings.
Exactly. Yeah, so he will be the favorite, no doubt.
He will be. It's kind of funny how things work out because Baffert trains the best horses that Gary and Mary West have.
Yeah.
He didn't get this one. And he didn't get this one because they started him in a $16,000 maiden claimer. So I don't think anybody thought this horse was that good, or at least not grade 1 good, let's say. And so Baffert didn't get him. And I'm sure he's been lobbying to get this horse for a while. Weird circumstances, but here he is now with him.
So maybe you're saying Bob Baffert was the informant for the FBI.
It's possible, right?
I mean, I'm just saying.
Throwing
a theory out there.
He didn't have a classic horse this year, but he's got one now.
I was like...
Listen, he's not losing this race. I think he's found a pretty good spot for him to start. And you gotta, if Sharp Samurai and Combatant, we're pretty sure are going to scratch. Those are not official scratches, but that's what we've heard. So it really comes down to, can Maximum Security beat Higher Power, Axeman, and Midcourt?
I mean,
if he can't, he's done.
Yeah.
And if he can, he'll move on to the next challenge where we'll really see what he's about, because he'll at least face something next time out, you would think. So, I think he rolls here. There's just not, from a class standpoint, there's not anything close to him. From a speed standpoint, I think he's going to get the lead, and he's just going to be really tough to beat here. I just think, and I guess lastly, what I'll say is the workout reports have been ridiculous.
I know.
They say he is just blazing in the morning. So all systems seem to be go for me. I think this horse is going to look pretty good on Saturday.
They say he's blazing in the morning. They say, Baffert has said that he's just a beast in the barn. He's eating well. He's has zero issues with him transitioning. I guess the only issue they've had from the start was just kind of getting the feed down, because trainers feed differently, as most of you know, or at least in the game know. And so kind of getting that. But as far as training, as far as anything like that goes, he didn't skip a beat. So yeah, I guess I'm picking him. I mean, because I think you have to. And I mean, I've been ranking him steadily all year, like after the fact of Saudi, just because I was like, well, until I see him again and he does or doesn't, I'm still gonna hang on him, saying, okay, it's still the horse, regardless of trainer, and let's see what he can do, And so I'm still hanging in there. But you do kind of give a pause, because you kind of have flashbacks a little bit, even though Baffert didn't train him prior to this race, where it's like, you remember how good Arrogant was, and then he went overseas, and he came back, and he was just like, was a shell of himself. And so you kind of wonder when these horses come back from a big layoff and a big trip and a big performance, because he ran his eyeballs out in the Saudi Cup. Mm-hmm. You're like, okay, is he the same horse? Will he kind of get back to the way he was? Because obviously Arrogant never did get back to what he was prior to going overseas. So that's it, kind of in the back of my mind. But at the same time, in this field, I mean, even Arrogant could have beat this field on his return.
I feel like the Dubai bounce, or now the Saudi bounce, we only talk about it when it happens. We don't talk about all the horses that come back and win right after it. You know what I mean? I don't really know if it's a real thing anymore. I really don't. The way they space out the races now, I'm not worried about. That's the least of my worries. Let's put it that way. Now, am I worried that he's for a new trainer and I don't know what that horse has been on, and neither does anybody else? Yeah, definitely. But I don't really think he's going to quote unquote bounce. It's just going to be, how does he run for the new barn? Literally meaning, what was he on before? What's he on now? It's a lot. That's the question mark, right?
Yep.
I just have to take the horse for face value of what he is, and he's 10 lengths better than anybody in the field. So even if he regresses 8 lengths, he still should win pretty easily.
Yeah, he's going to get just the absolute dream trip. I mean, it's hard not to get a dream trip in what it's going to be probably a 4-horse field. But yeah, I think to me, this is just all. I mean, this will be, if you're going to watch one race, this is the race to watch all weekend, because you just so much riding on this race for him, for the Classic, just kind of what I feel like this is. This is one of the most talked about horses. You can mention this horse to your buddies, and most people will remember this horse because of the famous DQ in the Kentucky Derby. I mean, it's hard to not think about Maximum Security being the DQ horse.
Yep.
So
I agree.
The horse that I think is going to get a lot of attention on Saturday, and should get a lot of attention on Saturday, because now you got, this poor horse, unfortunately for him, has always been part of some sort of controversy. Yeah. Whether it be drugs or DQs or whatever. So here we are.
Yeah, you're right. He has had a weird career. One we'll probably never, ever see again. Starting all the way back from the previously mentioned maiden claimer for $16,000. It's really unbelievable that horse started in that kind of race.
I think you guys could have bought him for 16, and he has now earned $11.8 million.
Yep, and counting if he keeps running well. So yeah, listen, you're right. This is such a big race for this horse. It is completely home run or strikeout right here.
Yep. So all right, we're on number 5, Maximum Security. You got to watch this one.
There you go. He's I'll say it while we're not recording. It really is just a matter of was it the drugs that made him good or not? That's it, right?
Yeah. From a talent wise, what we see talent is
so
what you.
Good.
It's not, this race is a joke. It's not comparable, but like you say, we just don't know.
No. I think now that we've had a few, well, not more than a few, we've had a bunch of those runners come back. And we're starting to see some of them run pretty well, or maybe not to the level they were, but still pretty well. Like Arcadus for Asmussen first time out last week, winning that turf sprint at Monmouth, and he did it really impressively. Frenzy Fire, who we talked about earlier on the show. So we're starting to see him come back, and that's a good sign. And kind of like when Frenzy Fire, I think we're on the live feed when that horse won. We're playing against those horses right now, but it's not because we don't like the horse. We actually want these horses to come back and run well to kind of show people that actually, this horse actually is pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't just the drugs completely that made this horse good.
Yeah, so you kind of root for him, especially, a horse like Frenzy Fire and Maximum Security as well. So we'll see. Empty Pockets 57 and maybe the drugs. We'll find out. We're going to know, because even if he wins and he looks awful, then we're kind of going to know, right?
Yeah. To me, I think this is a kind of a bold statement, but I feel like if he's either going to be the Classic favorite or he will be retired when the Classics ran.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I think that you're not going to get much in between, because if he's either going to be firing all cylinders or Bob Baffert's going to be like, listen.
Yeah, we're not going to get him embarrassed.
Yeah, this is not going to,
Because really, he's in a no-win situation if he comes back and
he's right.
Bad,
yeah, he's right. Yeah, because then it makes him look bad as a trainer to say you can't.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can't bet that horse.
Well, first, you can't. You
can't, you won't be able to bet him because it would be such a low price.
No, you don't want to bet him in this race for sure. So yeah, if you really feel strongly, there's going to be value there. So.
All right, so we just have 2 rapid fires. Sistercharlie and Ballston Spa, and then the San Clemente. The Bernard Baruch and Eddie Reed are not out yet for Sunday, but we do have those graded stakes races happening on Sunday at Saratoga and Del Mar. So We won't get to those on the pod, but we will obviously have analysis and picks for those on the website. So make sure you check that out. All right.
I can't believe Balin Rose is 7-2 right now at Saratoga. Race 6. I cannot believe it. I thought that horse would be the favorite for sure. I think that's good value on that horse.
Damn. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Barrica is 2-1, and I thought that was the other horse for sure that could win. I thought it was a 2-horse race, but I really thought the odds would be flipped. If you like Balin Rose in the 6th here at Saratoga, boy, you gotta love that price.
Hammer time.
Hammer time. Either that or something wrong with the horse.
Yeah.
I haven't been watching. Maybe the horse dumped the jockey at some point during the post parade. I don't know. I just glanced down. I'm like, wow, I can't believe 7-2.
And when you get 7-2 on Castellano Chad Brown at Saratoga on the turf, that's maybe it tells you something's wrong with the horse.
And I thought Balin Rose looked pretty good on paper here too. I guess we're gonna find out if I was wrong.
This is the top pick on the site here.
Yeah, top pick on the site. I thought it was one of the more likely winners on the cards.
Let's watch it. Let's watch it before we get on air here. All right, so the dudes are on number 1, Balin Rose at a price of 7-2. So if you're playing along, betting, you should go bet this horse.
Well, 1, 5, 9, and 3 were the top 4 in that order. And I thought you could key the 1 and 5 on top. So
there you go. You're getting free picks right now too. So
there you go.
So it pays to listen in. Not only it pays if he wins.
Right now, Balin Rose is now down to 3-1. So maybe
all your guys' late money coming in. Okay.
I think everybody kind of saw what I saw. Is it's like, yeah, I mean, if you think the 1 and 5 are close, the 1's the value. So hell, maybe by the time they get to the turn, it'll be the favorite again. But see, yeah, the bonus coverage of Saratoga here. Man, Saratoga, I am really frustrated through the first, I guess, what would this be? This be the 6th day of the meet? 6th day of the meet. It has been all or nothing. Like, I am all over the race. I feel like, okay, I've got it figured out. And then the next race, I'm not close. And that is very, very frustrating. So hopefully,
if you guys are playing this race, let us know who you got so we can root for you or root against you.
I didn't play a ton on this race, so we can root for people if they've got different horses than the 1 or 5. But yeah, Saratoga has been frustrating. Usually we get pretty hot at Saratoga. It hasn't happened yet, but it can happen any day. I kind of like the card tomorrow, actually. So we'll see if Friday, maybe I get a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, get it going. I haven't seen Sunday's card yet. I don't think it's out. So. And boy, I mean, we're going to talk about Sistercharlie. Saturday seems like you've got 2 singles on the card. Sistercharlie early, kind of in that decorated invader spot last weekend where you got that single. Okay, they're off. Well, I mean, Balin Rose is right where you want, and so's the 5. So, and Magic Mike touched on this on Monday, I believe. They recorded closers on the turf at Saratoga. That's been the thing. Horses have been coming from out of it. So, I mean, Balin Rose is in the perfect, typical Chad Brown trip right here.
He'll duck her out to the outside when they get to the top of the stretch.
Yep.
And she'll make you can usually tell pretty quick if she's gonna.
Yeah, and on the turn we'll know if this race is over or not. Usually that's how it goes. They're going pretty slow up front, so this is going to be really interesting to see if closers once again come up and get this. They ran a half and 49 and 4.
Yeah, they're all pretty tightly packed up here.
Yep. And the 5s, I mean, the 5's in last, but right there in the race too. Right now the 9's moving better than the 1. Can't really ask the 1. Oh boy. This isn't good.
You didn't get this trip.
No, the 1's behind a wall of horses. It's got a little bit of
waiting
run.
to duck out. Now he's ducking. Get it. Yeah.
No. Oh, maybe. Get a seam. 1. Oh my God, what a trip. The 8 won the race.
Oh, that's brutal.
There's no doubt in my mind the 1 was the best horse in that race. Wow.
That is a trip that you want back, Castellano.
You know what really pisses you off about that
Unreal.
is they bet the wrong horse, right? Because the 5 is 5-2 and the 1 is 3-1. So you're getting value. The 1 ran like the horse that should have been favored and just got just a horrendous trip.
Got closed off several times. You can tell me obviously the horse has run the whole time because whenever it gets any kind of run or gets any kind of opening, she goes.
It was the best horse in the race and finished off the board. I don't even think the horse got up for 3rd. It was a blanket finish. If you guys aren't watching, that's really frustrating.
Okay, well,
all right. That is really, really frustrating.
Horse racing. Gotta love it. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's do some rapid fire. Okay, that's just live. We do on live here, and we'll start over. Doesn't happen often, folks, but it does happen. 3, 2, 1. Let's start things off with some rapid fire at Saratoga. We're going back to Saratoga. And that's right, Sistercharlie makes her return to the track in the Grade 2 Ballston Spa. It's race 3 on the program where 200K for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, going 1 1/116 miles on the turf. Field of 5 lines up for this one with the 5-horse Sistercharlie, 2-5 heavy morning line favorite, and should be Starship Jubilee, the 2-1 second choice. But Chad Brown, Velasquez, 2-5, Sistercharlie, she makes her return. Should be a winning one.
Yeah, this field definitely didn't draw much. And so that's why the main reason really why I'm going to pick Sistercharlie in here. I never thought I would say this, but I kind of thought this was a race where Sistercharlie could get beat when they said they were pointing for here. It's a 1.16 miles. I just thought there might be kind of a tricky horse that gets entered here, but there really isn't. I mean, if Starship Jubilee wins, I'll really be surprised if she can beat a horse like Sistercharlie. That Starship Jubilee is a nice enough, but she's not a Sistercharlie type. So yeah, I went with her on top. You couldn't go against her.
Yeah, and it's hard to, you just can't. Like you say, you try to find little chinks if you're going to try to beat her, and there just really aren't any there. I mean, a horse. Okay, so you say, oh well, it's been a long layoff. Well, that's a fair assessment, but not only is Chad Brown awesome off the layoff, where he hits about 30%, she happens to be damn good off the layoff. I mean, you look at a horse that's been like kind of her thing has been layoffs. They've been very careful with how they've ran her. Ran the Breeders' Cup, won that, and then came back and then waited all the way till about now to run in the Diana and then wins. A horse that went from July 2017 to April 18 and won that race. So a horse that so you kind of have that combination: a horse that's very good off the layoff and a trainer that's very good off the layoff. At Saratoga, she's 2 for 2. The distance, she's 1 for 1. It's just like I say, you try to find a chink if you're going to try to go against her, especially at 2-5, and there just really isn't one. Yeah, she looks to make her. It's kind of funny, It's kind of been her MO, especially the last couple of years, where it's like, okay, we wait till about halfway through the season. Chad Brown has said she's been ready. We probably would have seen her before now, just due to everything being all jacked up this year. They're kind of waited to find a spot. Like you said, 1.16 maybe not her perfect distance, what you'd want. But just hard to see a scenario where she gets beat, and we talked about off air watching a race a second ago where it's like, here's you're used to the typical Chad Brown type move on the turn, and you could just see her kind of cruising up alongside him, and to me, it's going to be almost like a workout for her. So number 5, I think she's a single, one of the singles on the day. Number 5, Sistercharlie for both of us.
Right.
Okay. Maybe like the toughest race to actually handicap of the day, as far as stakes action goes, is at Del Mar in the San Clemente. This is definitely the one that I was on the longest.
Yeah, it's a weird race. It's a typical Del Mar turf race. They're tough. They're all tough out there, and this one's not any different.
Does anybody listening to this think that Sistercharlie can lose that race? Like I just seem like that's it's hard for me to get there,
I'm going to use, well, no, I'll probably single. Starship Jubilee, maybe get down front, but.
Who's most likely to lose, Volatile or Sistercharlie?
I think Volatile was most likely to lose.
I think so too.
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go to Del Mar on Saturday, race 9, San Clemente Stakes, grade 2 with 150K for fillies. 3-year-olds going 1 mile on the turf, and probably the toughest race to handicap stakes action. Definitely on the pod that we're going to talk about today. Field of 11 shows up for this one, and you kind of got it all over the board here. Laura's Light, the 3-horse, 3-1 morning line favorite, 7-2 on Warren Showtime, who might scratch out of the race, 7-2, 5-1 on She's So Special, 6-1 on Krovaka. Okay. Shearmeister's at 6-1. There's several all over the board here. So it's one of those races that you've been eating chalk all day, and you imagine that Maximum Security is going to win his race earlier on the card that day. So do you want to keep going chalk with Laura's Light?
I went the total opposite of chalk here. I went with the horse that's 15-1 on the morning line, and I actually think this horse is going to get that down a little more than that. I went with number 4, Over Attracted on top. A few things. I like that Mike Smith stays aboard after getting second in allowance last time out. I think that's a pretty good sign. I like that this is this horse's second start in the United States. That last time out, debut, also first race going a mile, and still ran well, was closing, just missed. I think with a little more pace, which I think we're going to get in this spot, I think Over Attracted could get up and get the job done here at Del Mar. So at 15-1, it's a lot about that price. That price is just too attractive when these other horses are just okay in my mind. So I'm going to take a little bit of a swing here with the price.
Yeah, man, that's the thing. I looked at this race for a long time, and I really wanted to take a price. She's So Special, which at the time when I was handicapping did not see the odds. But, with Pratt staying aboard, I think the other Peter Millard here other than Laura's Light, so that, horse that has some interest. Your horse that you mentioned, Mind Out, a horse at 15-1. Applecross at 12-1 for Baltus and Drayden on board. There's a lot in here. Like I would try to buy this as much of this race as I could in the sequence, just because you and I talked about this off air, where it's like one of those races you feel like anything could happen. It's and having said all that, it's like I kept going back to number 3, Laura's Light, because she is the class of the race. She is good at this distance. She has ran at Del Mar and ran well at Del Mar. She got second last year. At the end of last year, the Jimmy Durant, to a horse named Alms, a very good horse.
Yeah.
Laura's Light ran a good race that day. When I kind of handicapped the race, I thought, I really like this Applecross coming off a layoff, and I think, obviously there's some high hopes for this horse. And you look at that race where she finished, I think she finished 5th to Alms and Laura's Light that day, and you look how dominant those two on top were compared to Applecross. You're like, man, you got to make up a lot of ground on those to kind of get there. But the interesting part about this is that you have, if you're a numbers person, the numbers are fairly comparable to a lot of the other horses in the race. When you talk about Laura's Light, a horse that's been running in good graded stakes races and winning them, I just think she's just a little outclasses. She just outclasses them a little too much for me to take a shot with the one on a win bet. I kind of like, I don't want to narrow one down. I like a lot of them. I like that Kravakia or whatever. I like that horse is interesting. I like your horse because I think that's with Over Attracted at like 15-1, that price with Mike Smith. You got to think that getting one more start will help this horse, get the first start overseas. But to me, Laura's Light, there's a lot of speed in the race. While she has speed, she has tactical speed, so she can sit off of it just a bit. I think that's going to be the biggest difference there for her. She gets an inside trip. She's able to stalk the pace a little bit, stop, then go cutting back from the mile and 1/8 to a mile. I like that. So, I think she's going to be tough. So I ended up going with her on top, but again, try to buy as much of this race as you guys can, because if she doesn't win, I think you
a lot of different ways, right?
pick one. So I'm on number 3, Laura's Light.
Quick podcast this week.
I know. I was just running through it.
There's just, like I said, there's just these races, the big ones, there's not a lot of talking points,
Yeah, it's kind of like it is what it is, and let's see if they can do it.
Yep.
So
that's right. I think each track has done a really good job of putting races around these kind of chalky looking races that are going to be really tough, and they could give solid payouts, even if those favorites come in and win. So Saratoga looked pretty tough on Saturday, minus the 2 big races.
Just got a really sad tweet, or a little sad text from Evil Stevel. I was right. It was a year ago today. We were at Saratoga. He sent us a picture of, we were watching the Curlin Stakes off the balcony at the 1863 Club. That was fun.
That was a good time, yeah.
The very next day, Evil and I set a record for bar tab, I think, at the paddock bar table. They have a plaque up next to our table.
Yeah, nobody gets to see it though.
No one's there.
But nobody can prove you that you're lying either.
Exactly. They'll take it down before you get there.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, it really hits hard not being at Saratoga. That sucks.
That's like one of the things that that I just kept going back to, was thinking, this all sucks, but when Saratoga gets there, it's like, surely they're going to run, they'll allow fans, because I just can't imagine Saratoga not having fans, and here we are. It sucks bad.
It does.
All right.
Put a bow on it.
Three, 2, 1. So all the time we have. Check us out at racingnews.com for free picks and our premium selections on our Handicap products page with products. Link in the menu at racingnews.com. To learn more, we're currently covering 30 plus tracks. Can you say that?
Yeah, over 30 tracks now for sure. And they just keep adding. We got Arlington Park up back this weekend, and just keep going.
All offering free picks. So if you're looking to just kind of get started, free picks for all those tracks, free win picks for all those tracks, and kind of get started. And if you want more, of course, we got that available as well. We're on Twitter at race_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. Listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, even the website at racingnews.com. Remember the Magic Mike show's out there, so check them out. Not sure. Are they covering Late Pick 4 at Saratoga again? Do you know?
Last time I heard, I think they were doing Del Mar.
Del Mar?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're going to get Del Mar or Saratoga as the Late Pick 4. If Magic is still paying attention on here, he can comment on the live feed, and we will update you for the pod. But Late Pick 4 at Saratoga or Del Mar for Magic Mike, so make sure you check them out. Hey, and today's a big day. Thursday, we have some sort of sports back.
That's right. Yeah.
Baseball kicks off.
Back.
I think it kicks off tonight, right? You got 2 games this evening, right?
You got 2 games tonight. It's back. There you go.
And we've got it on the website, so that's fun. So we had baseball picks on the website as well. Just go to on the main menu under the sports tab and get MLB. But yeah, it's the Yankees and Washington Nationals, and you got the Giants and the Dodgers both today kicking things off.
So over under, how many days does baseball last?
I don't know. I kind of have it in my head that once these sports start to come back, they are going to have it so we're going to finish it. Like, short of there being some kind of corona outbreak, which
short of there being an outbreak,
within the teams, I mean,
okay,
we're past that. If the clubhouses, where they can't literally even fill the roster,
right? Yeah.
Then you're like, okay, this isn't working. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to last. People are just so set on sports at this point, and I think more than that, especially when it comes to NBA and NHL, especially NHL, I think, because it's like they're so fixated on getting a Stanley Cup champion this year that it's like, no matter what happens, we're going to finish this out.
We are doing it. Yeah.
We are committed to it. We've waited this long. We've taken the proper precautions, and here we are. Yeah. Looks like Evil Steve thinks less than 30 days. So.
Well, I mean, that's Yeah, it's possible. It's definitely possible. I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's going to be a day by day thing, and really, what it's going to come down to is how willing are the leagues to look at a positive or 4 or 10 positives and go, oh, we have to shut it down, or oh, we'll just keep going. That's all, because they're going to get positive tests. It's going to happen.
Well, I think, yeah, it's about, and then with the NFL, they were real big on the players. They wanted, obviously, some sort of, like the NFL kept saying, we're coming back. And then well, we don't have anything set, any measures put in place for how we're going to handle this testing wise or whatnot. So I think what is it, daily now they're going to do tests. So you're going to have that as a factor. They've announced the NFL, which I don't know if you saw this, I'm sure you have, but I think it's another thing that's going to happen for everywhere for the foreseeable future is if you do go for whatever capacity that they have, get people at games, you have to have a mask on. Yeah. Which, you and I both know they won't last on. I mean, you go to Arrowhead Stadium, people are going to take those off as soon as they get inside.
I think, it's gonna be some problems. I will say the NFL has got a really good shot in my mind to have a season because they're going to learn from the mistakes that are going to happen with baseball, with basketball, and with hockey. I mean, there's going to be mistakes made. There's going to be things they can take and learn from. And so when the NFL rolls around, it's kind of going to be a streamlined process that these other leagues, who are the guinea pigs right now, have come up with. So
yeah.
I'm happy to see it back. Not so much baseball. I won't watch those games, but
I will.
Listen,
good to have something on.
You're going to have, if you like basketball, or even baseball, if you like baseball, if you like basketball, if you like hockey, from noon to midnight every day for months, that's all it's going to be on TV.
Yeah.
So it's going to be great for viewing. And you may be right. They're going to get into this, and the ratings are going to be so high, and they can see what they can do. And they're probably just going to be like, hey, y'all get it? Find somebody to take that spot because we're not closing.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, that's what horse racing is doing.
I mean, honestly, because you think about it, it'll be kind of interesting to see how we've seen such a uptick in horse racing because everyone's been so hungry for something, and they've come to horse racing. So it'll be interesting to see this play out when you have baseball come back, and it's like, do all of a sudden ratings shoot up because, again, it's just something for somebody to watch.
Right.
NBA comes back, boom, it spikes because something's for someone to watch, and the TV ratings are huge, and the endorsements are up. So yeah, I mean, I can see that. All right, we got a question while we're doing this live.
I saw that.
Wow, that's an awesome picture, by the way. Ron, and an awesome name. How y'all like the 10 at race 7 at Saratoga?
Listen, I like him a lot. I mean, I like her a lot. I guess you say. I think this horse should win. Gets Ira out of board. Top choice in the race. Our top choice got a terrible ride in race 6. Should have won. So maybe we'll get a good ride here and we'll win. Yeah, I like the 10 a lot. I thought 10, 3, 13, and 6 is how I saw it in that order. I thought 13 had a pretty good shot. Morning line was 15-1. What is it now? 14-1. So you're getting a decent price. So if you love the 10, maybe put the 10 on top of those 3 horses, the 3, 6, 13. But yeah, I think 10's got a good shot to win that race.
There you go. Ron. Yeah, so let's see, anything else happening this weekend? Next weekend, of course, we have the Whitney.
Yeah,
huge Whitney, which let me see if I can pull this up real quick. But the Whitney Stakes for next week has got potential to be the race of the year. It's definitely the best older race we've seen this year so far, no doubt.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just insane. Let's see here.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, we got By My Standards, McKenzie, Bodie Express, Code of Honor, Improbable, Tom's Dietat, and Tacitus. I mean, that's kind of, for the most part, minus Max Security, which we get this weekend.
Yeah.
Kind of the who's who's of the older horses right there. So,
yep.
McKenzie obviously looking to defend his Whitney.
Yep.
We'll see, but Code of Honor, he's the one.
It's funny that
Code of Honor and Tom's Dietat are like, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, it's funny that McKenzie is the defending champion of this race, and I don't think he's got any shot if all those horses show up.
Yeah, Code of Honor, I think he'll run huge. I really do. What'd you say? 3-6?
Yeah, 3-6-13. You got it. Yep, you got it there. Yeah, I think Code of Honor versus Tom Giatta will be pretty darn interesting.
So this is, that's because that's a big, and it's going to Mount A, so it's a mile and a quarter classic distance. And, both Tom and Code seem like mile and a quarter type horses. It definitely evens it out a little bit for like a horse like McKenzie, or by my standards, who I don't necessarily think are mile and a quarter type horses. I know McKenzie's not. Right. Tacitus is, so it kind of hurts him a little bit. But to me, Tom's Giatta and Code of Honor are the two horses there that you just like. I mean, that's what I think we all want to see. So, I can't wait for that one. Yep. So Whitney will be awesome next week. So make sure we'll have a wagering guide available for that as well. All right. I think that's it. So good luck this weekend. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Stay safe and welcome back, sports. Good luck this weekend.
There you go. We drug it out to 53 minutes. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, next weekend is going to be pretty crazy. You get the Whitney, and you've got all the sports leagues.
So it's going to be busy.
It's going to be a busy week. Yep.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Until next time, Magic Mike will be on here in a few, I think. So
yeah, should be here pretty quick. So tune into those guys next.
All right. See you guys.